So we will take up this design of columns which are subjected to both axial load as well as flexion, that is bending. As you know, the IS 456 specifies that each column has to be designed, though it is basically a compression member or predominantly a compression member, it has to be designed for minimum eccentricity of 20 millimeters or 0.045 D, where D is the depth. D or B, D since it is maximum, taking 0.05 D. So it has to be designed for that particular eccentricity. So in that particular case, all columns we have to design for bending only or bending also. So all these specifications, what you already know, as per IS 456 regarding the design of sections or design of members for flexion, it holds good here also. As per that clause, I think it is 38, clause 38 and 39 of IS 456 has to be completely used for the design of this column. Clause 38 for bending flexion, that is limit state of collapse, that is flexion, and 39 clause is limit state of collapse, that is with compression. Both that limit state of collapse for compression as well as bending specifications given in IS 38, clauses 38, 39, I think page number 70, 71, 72 of IS 456, you have to refer to that, and first you have to understand all those things. Some basic assumptions also they have given. Each plane section remains plane even after bending. What is the maximum strain in concrete on account of this bending that is 0.0035, which is maximally stressed, as well as what is the strain in steel, stress strain in concrete, idealized for both mild steel as well as cold deformed bars. All those informations you should have in mind well before going for this particular analysis. I'll just go through only the salient points or main points which are required for our design of columns only. The rest you can just refer to IS 456. All you might have already done some designs on beams, something like singly reinforced, doubly reinforced, both flank beams as well as rectangular beams. That same principle, whatever you have done there, that we are using here in columns also. First, let us take simple column section, a rectangular column section of smaller dimension B, larger dimension D, which is subjected to, which is provided with steel, either all round or on two faces. Now for the time being, I will take it on only the two faces, parallel faces, that is parallel to short edge, that is when column is subjected to bending about major axis. So the major axis is this, x-axis with the axis parallel to shorter dimension, we call it as the major axis. Another axis normal to that or orthogonal to that, we call it as the minor axis. This is major axis, minor axis, and steel is provided uniformly, that is of same area. This we call it as ASC, steel in compression. This is steel in tension when it is subjected to bending. And this steel is provided at what is known as effective cover, which we denote by the symbol D dash all round in both directions. This D dash, it is called effective cover, that is clear cover plus half size of bar, half dia of God. That is center of this first bar close to this extreme edge, whatever is there, that particular center to the edge in both directions. That we call it as D dash. Usually the clear cover will be 40 mm, that already have told in the general specifications for all columns. 40 mm clear cover we have to maintain to the main longitudinal steel, and whatever size of steel you are going to select for design, how that you can take it. This is also one dimension which we have to remember before going for design. Now let us assume that this particular column is subjected to both axial load Pu as well as moment Mu. Both are ultimate load and ultimate moment, that is limit state load as well as limit state moments, not working load or working moments. You have to just apply that usual load factor and arrive at this ultimate value Pu and Mu. So now, because of this Mu, this column is subjected to a sort of flexion also, and there will be a neutral axis, what is known as neutral axis, which is going to develop on account of the bending, and that neutral axis, at that particular point, there won't be any stress. So the neutral axis, depending upon the magnitude of Mu and Pu, the neutral axis either it may lie within the section assumed or away from the section assumed, depending upon the magnitude of Pu and Mu. Both these cases we have to consider into account before design. Now I am spending some time on that particular aspect. When the neutral axis on account of bending lies within the section, that is similar to your flexure, and what is the strain distribution on account of that, maximum strain develop, maximum stress develop, as well as when neutral axis goes outside the section, how the distribution of strain and stress across this cross section of the column. Both I want to discuss. Though you are already know in flexure design, I want to spend some time on that. First, I will take up the case of when this neutral axis lies within the flank, within the section on account of this bending. I will assume let that particular neutral axis be at a distance xu from the most compression edge. So I will assume this is the compression edge, most compressive stress is going to occur here, most tensile force will occur here because of tension, and the stress will be zero somewhere in between. That I will assume that it be at a distance xu from most compressive stress edge. So that means here no strain or as well as stress, and the maximum stress will be at this compression zone, and as per that clause 38 of IS 456, the maximum stress you can allow in concrete is 0.0035, and this we assume because all these we will design as per ultimate load condition, we assume that maximum strain is reached on account of this particular bending. Here it will be zero. The strain distribution, the variation of strain across the cross section will be like this. This is strain diagram. So this is for case 1, that is when neutral axis lies within the section. So at a distance xu from most the compressive edge. So the strain diagram will be like that. Here it will be 0 and here it will be maximum. And your corresponding stress diagram as per that IS 456 the stress will not be having a constant type of variation. It may be rectangular, it may be parabolic, or trapezoidal, or combination of all these. Usually, the diagram will look like that. So it will be uniform up to certain distance from the most compressive edge. Then the variation will be parabolic. The variation is going to be parabolic, like this. This is the actual stress diagram as per IS 456 in concrete under limit state condition. Strain diagram will be like this. Stress diagram will be like this when neutral axis lies within the section considered. So the distance up to which this particular stress, uniform stress will occur, this is usually will be equal to 3/7 of XU. That's also given in the code. If you assume XU as the depth of this neutral axis, the stress variation will be uniform, that is this triangular. The stress variation will be uniform up to a distance of 3/7, or that is also equal to your 0.426 XU, 0.42 XU, up to that distance. So the stress distribution will be uniform, and the magnitude of this stress will be 0.446 FCK. That also should know, that's given in IS clause 38. What is the standard limit state stress distribution across a cross section, and what is the strain distribution? These are all given straight away in the code. You can refer to that. So I see that. Under this particular condition, stress strain diagram, when the neutral axis lies within the section, so you can find out what is the total compressive stress developed, what is the total tensile stress developed. Here you will have total tensile stress developed, tensile force. In other words, here in this compressive steel, there is total compressive stress developed. This we call it as CCS, compressive stress developed in the steel. This we can call total tensile stress developed in the steel. And here, this particular diagram, total area of this particular diagram and CG of that particular diagram, we can work out. That's also given in the standard code. What is the total area? As per that, the total area, it will be concentrated at a distance equal to this 0.42 XU. The center of gravity of this particular portion will be at a distance 3/7 XU approximately, given by the code, and this is the total compressive stress of concrete during limit state. So the total forces developed from this stress you can work out in the compressive steel, in the total concrete as well as total steel. So therefore, your ultimate load PU of this particular section, now under this state, is given by this CCS plus CC minus TS, because neutral axis will lie within the section from this tension here. This will be in tension only, that's why I have taken TS. Each of these forces you can determine. The CS force is equal to, that is given by, that you already know, again the code gives design of doubly reinforced sections, that you know, steel when provided in the compression zone, how to find its resisting capacity, that is area of that particular compressive steel, AC multiplied by FC, FSC, allowable compressive stress in compression, minus the allowable stress in the surrounding concrete. In the surrounding concrete, this particular stress you can take as 0.446 FCK. This you should remember that you have already known in WD4 section. FCC is known. FSC you can determine from your stress strain curve. It varies if it is mild steel is used for the design purpose, which has yield strength of Fy equals 250. Corresponding to that, you have to refer to the standard mild steel stress strain curve and take the corresponding Fy, apply the partial factor of safety of 1.5, take that particular value, I think it comes to 0.67 Fy or something, that you have to take it in comparison. In may go different bars, you have to take for that 2% of that true stress, and again you have to apply where that stress strain curve is linear. Up to that is 80% of yield stress only will be linear, that you have to take all these details are there given in the code, that from that particular stress strain curve you have to arrive at that stress after determining what is the strain here. Because from this stress strain curve, the corresponding strain diagram is this I have given. The corresponding strains here, this is epsilon SC, this is epsilon ST. These strains you have to work out, because that you can do easily from this similar triangle, because 0.0035 divided by this XU and multiply by this distance. This distance is nothing but XU minus D dash. That's why I have given all the dimensions here. From that you can work out this strains in the steel from that standard thing and go to this particular standard stress strain curve, and from that this is strain, from that particular strain corresponding stress you have to read, that is your FSC. These are all the basic things which you already know, that I am highlighting for this column design also. That is CSC and CC, of course you can take it as, because that's the area of this particular thing, that is standard properties of the stress block. This is called as the stress block. Properties of the stress block is also given. Area of the stress block will be known in IS 456, and that particular value will be 0.36 times FCK XU into B. That is the corresponding weight. So that CC also can be computed, CC also computed, TX also you can compute, which is given by your AST multiplied by FST. This also you can compute corresponding to this strain. You can refer to the stress strain curve, calculate that FST. From that all these things are calculated. You can find out this ultimate load when neutral axis lies within the span. Then you can evaluate the ultimate moment also of this particular cross section by taking moment of all these forces about this center of the section. That is the CCS is all about the compression edge. Either one can take it. Preferably it is about CG. That is CCS into this distance. This is nothing but XU minus D dash, and the CC into this distance. This also you can compute, that is XU minus this 0.42 XU, and this is also in the same direction. All these things will be added. Here I have taken this as minus, whereas when I compute moment due to all these forces will get added up, because all are giving only clockwise movement about this center line. So you can add moment due to all these forces, so whose distances are all known, so you can compute the moment also. So this is the procedure for calculating PU and NU for a given section, given reinforcement on account of the moment and on account of the load, external load given. That capacity, what is the moment developed, you can work out. Similarly, in case 2 also, that is the major case in our dealing with this design of column, that is when neutral axis lies outside the section, outside the section. For this actually, the calculations, everything has been given in that handbook, that is SP 16. Clearly all these calculations, even this calculation also, it has given here, and it has tabulated for various mixers what is the MU, PU, everything. This, by developing the interaction diagram, it has developed the chart. From that chart, so design becomes very, very simple. Hardly it is 2 or 3 steps design. It won't take in much time. In about 10 or 12 minutes, you can finish off the designs of these columns subjected to flexure and bending. But how that particular chart, interaction chart, has been developed at that time, explaining the theory behind that development of chart only. So whenever it is subject to bending, it creates a neutral axis which can be either within the section or away from the section. When it is within the section, how to work out PU, MU I have told. When it lies away from this section, neutral axis section, so I will assume that neutral axis will be somewhere here. Away from that particular section, again at a distance from this highly compressed zone. This we call it as highly compressed edge. Compressed edge. This is highly tensile stress edge. From this highly compressed edge, so let this be at a distance XU, which I can call it as some KD. This is what it has been designed in that SP 16. In terms of this K only, it has given a simplified formula for calculation of PU and MU. Suppose if the neutral axis lies away from this at a distance from highly compressed edge equal to KD. Instead of XU, it is XU, that is KD. Now, this particular stress strain curve will be 0 here, strain, it will be 0 here, as I took the strain here. Here, this is the neutral axis, so strain will be 0 here, and this is the central axis, this is the 3/7 of the strain will be, strain diagram will be somewhat like that. It's again linear, and the maximum strain will be here 0.0035. For actual MU and PU, the actual strain may be below this maximum allowed, and this maximum allowed, suppose if it is when the neutral axis coincides with this other edge, that is highly tensile edge, and highly tensile stress edge. Here I have taken away from that. Suppose if this point is here, that is the optimum one, where, and then it goes beyond. When it is here, this strain, we will assume it reaches 0.0035 when it is exactly at this particular edge. So this another line which I have shown here dotted, this line indicates when this strain in the concrete reaches its maximum value and neutral axis lies exactly here. So for this particular case, this is how the strain diagram looks like, with maximum value here, then it is 0 here. When it is beyond that, neutral axis is beyond this, this is the strain diagram, it will be well within that particular limit. Strain is not at all the constant. But this corresponding to this stress 0.446 FCK corresponding to 0.0035. That has not reached here now. Corresponding to this, the strain will be 0.002. Corresponding to that, strain is 0.002, where that variation of stress will be linear. And this intersection point will be at a distance that 3/7 of xu, that is same as this, that point will not alter. So to here, that variation is linear. So this is 3/7 of xu depending upon that. And the stress variation, it will be, here you will get 0.446 K, here Ck, and it is linear up to 0.42 or 3/7 thing, then it will be parabolic, like that. So this is the stress diagram. Instead of stress diagram like this, it will be like this. Parabolic portion will be larger. So this is how it looks like, and here of course it is uniform. This particular aspect, it is clearly given in SP16 also, that is, I can show it. So is it going to see Prakabuta? So you can see this, whatever that particular thing in SP16, you can see that they have taken a column section where reinforcement is distributed. This is the particular strain diagram when neutral axis lies within that particular section. So this complete lines, here 0.0035 highly compressed edge that they have marked here, highly compressed edge. This is that neutral axis when it lies within the section, and this dotted line corresponds to when that neutral axis lies exactly at the other edge. And this is when neutral axis lies away from that particular section. That is also given here. That is similar to whatever I have drawn. This is that full line. This line corresponds to the strain diagram of that particular actual case, and this dotted one from 0.0035 to edge, that is when that neutral axis lies at this particular edge, and this corresponds to 0.002, and the corresponding stress diagram, it is shown here. That's what I have drawn at the bottommost point. That's here, right? At this edge, we will have triangle. Here he has not taken up to here. I have drawn stress diagram from here. You can see this particular point. This is that parabolic portion, then straight portion. Whereas here what he has shown is only within this section he has shown this trapezoidal portion what you are seeing. This is exactly what the strain and stress diagrams, or how the distribution of stresses and strain for general case of axial load and bending in column will occur. And again here, as I did in this particular case, you can find out what is the stress or force, the compressive force here, that is CS, CCS, and compressive force in concrete, that is CC. CC is again, you can work out from this kind of formula only, and this tensile force, it is here. So now this is also in compression only, this you have to be careful. Now this neutral axis lies away from this particular section, so naturally here this steel also will be under compression only, because neutral axis is away from that particular point. This is also compressive, this is TS. TS, CS, CCS, you can compute in that similar fashion, knowing the properties of stress diagram from that particular handbook again, you can work out what is PU and MU. This much information you should know before going for the development of that interaction charts for both axial load and bending moment. That is how the strain distribution and stress distribution across this particular section. And of course, if the reinforcement is distributed all round, then each layer one by one at a distance from from the central axis you have to take, and corresponding formula for calculating the corresponding forces that is straight away given here in the properties of this section in this design handbook. Straight away you can take it for that particular design purpose. So this much amount of tedious calculation of evaluating the forces arriving at these distances all will be there. But these all have been avoided by the construction of interaction diagram and providing you ready-made chart straight away for arriving at what is the steel area to be provided for a given combination of PU and MU. Next, we will take up that development of interaction chart. Development of interaction charts. So here, what I have taken is, I have taken the neutral axis distance from the highly compressed zone within the section, away from the section, and I have given the formula for arriving at what is the maximum PU for that given cross section of the column, given steel. What is its capacity in carrying the load and MU. Here also when the neutral axis lies away, what is that? So how to calculate this for various cases, number of cases for different XUs. You just fix up to start with, you know B and D to start with. So you fix up this position of neutral axis. XU is equal to 0.1D, 0.2D, 0.3D, D, that is exactly where that neutral axis lies coincides. That's exactly whatever I have shown here. And it coincides here. When that XU is D, or away from this, away also, you can take 1.1D, 1.2D, 1.3D away from that. So you can just calculate this PU and MU for given section. For standard given section, given steel, you can just plot a graph of this MU calculated versus PU calculated for a given section, that is given cross section, given steel, percentage of steel. So assuming various XUs, it need not be some specific value. Assume some X, maybe 0.1D, 0.2D like that. You can assume even within the section, away from the section, using this formula and plot that PU and MU for that particular given section. For that section, you will get a diagram somewhat in this fashion. This particular diagram, we call it as the interaction diagram. So, which gives you the variation of PU and MU for a given section, given steel, for various rotation of this neutral axis. So this you have to develop. So what this particular IS 456 it has done is, in this handbook, instead of plotting the actual PU and MU, they have non-dimensionalized this so that it can be used for any combination of peer loads and sections. Instead of PU, they have taken PU by FCK BD. Instead of MU, we have taken MU by FCK BD square. So now this is non-dimensional because you know PU is in terms of some Newton units, Newton or kilonewtons. FCK will be Newton per millimeter square. B and D are in millimeters. So that millimeter, this millimeter square cancels, this Newton and top Newton cancels, it becomes non-dimensional. Same thing here. So instead of plotting actual PU and MU, so the code has plotted the non-dimensional figures for various values of percentage of steel in the given section. For various values of P by percentage of steel divided by FCK value. For that they have developed. So for different varieties of steel, 3 varieties of steel they have taken. Fi equals 250, Fi 450, Fi 500 for these 3 varieties of steel for a given section, that is B and D, given section and given steel. So whatever this PU by FCKBD they have developed for different chart, that is called the interaction diagram, and that is has been tabulated and supplied to you in the various format. I'll show you one typical diagram, interaction diagram. So this is that interaction diagram which has been developed, right? These are all FCK, P by FCK value, P by FCK, 0.2 something, some value is there. These are all P by FCK value. This is mu by FCK BD squared along x-axis, along y-axis, PU by FCK BD for different this percentage of steel and how this steel has been placed. It is arrangement of steel. It is placed parallel to 2 edges corresponding to some D dash, some effective cover. That's also mentioned. Type of steel. Here we can use 4 types of steel. That's also mentioned here. This is for Fi 415 grade. T dash by D is equal to 0.15. Similarly, 0.2 D dash by D. This is 415. Like that, for D dash by D ratio 0.05, 0.1, 0.15, 0.2. 4 values of D dash by D for same steel, Fi 415. Similarly for Fi 500, another 4. Fi 250, another 4. Total is 16 charts like that they have developed for this. Likewise, and of course here mix is assumed as M20 mix, and that variation of mix will not matter much. It will matter much only here in this formula for computation of PU or MU, that concrete stress, it has come into picture only there. That value is almost negligible. Even if you ignore it, doesn't matter. That's what this specifies in the code also. So even if you neglect, it doesn't matter. Or if you take it, it will be very accurate. And that variation of that concrete mix, whether it is M20, M15, M25, will not alter these particular values in greater proportion. So that is why though the charts have been developed for one particular mix here in this particular book, that is M20 only they have developed, and that variation is not there, mix variation. So for a constant mix of M20 for 3 varieties of steel for 3 D dash by D, this particular chart have been prepared and given. Using this chart, we can easily find out, design our columns for both axial force as well as bending. It's called this is the actual principle. Here one thing you can observe. Here if you take any point here on this interaction diagram, if suppose theta is the inclination of this particular line here, then this tan theta will be represent the eccentricity that you can observe. That is one of the properties here. So here we have developed this diagram by varying neutral axis depth, arbitrarily varying from x equals 0.1 to whatever the value out of the section also, 0.1 D to 1.4 D, 1.5 D like that. And here, in this particular diagram, if you take this tan theta, this is nothing but mu divided by PU. Mu by PU is nothing but what? Eccentricity. So eccentricity is also known. That is another thing which you should know. Though it is plotted for a given assumed XU value, that is depth of neutral axis. So we can find out the eccentricity also from this, because generally we take the eccentricity into account in our actual design problem rather than this neutral axis depth. So knowing the eccentricity value, you can find out mu. Pu is also already known. Pu into E will be your mu. So only if they give axial load and its corresponding eccentricity, you can still use that formula because that holds good, because it clearly represents that eccentricity only. And again here, in addition to this, you can find in this chart, there is one more factor. So mu by bd squared along x-axis, pu by fckbd along y-axis, and these curves have been prepared for given section and different steel. That's given section and steel, it has been prepared. Here you are finding some variations also, FST, FST 0, FST, Fy. So number of these dotted lines, that also you can see. While doing the design, if you find your point lies somewhere here, you can judge what is property of this particular column. Here FST is equal to 0 means that particular entire section above this is completely under compression. No tension has been developed. At no point of time any of these steel reinforcement has reached its yield point. This FST is equal to FST means if your point lies here on this particular point line, that means so the outermost steel has just started yielding. That is the information you are going to get. Below this particular FST equal to Fi, this yield Fi line, the steel will be under inelastic condition. Whatever strain it has been developed, that is inelastic, and we are not going to just touch about it. So those information also you are going to get right straight away from this. You will be knowing what is the type of strain which has been developed, induced in the, on account of the load in the given problem. So this much information you should know before going for the actual problem. Actual problem, as I told you, it will not take much time, 5 to 10 minutes. You can use the relevant thought and come out. So only how this has been developed, all this information which I have told now, that is development of the stress strain diagram or knowing the stress strain diagram when neutral axis lies within the section, away from the section, how to calculate the corresponding moment capacity as well as load carrying capacity of those corresponding cases for assumed value of XUs. For various assumed value of XUs, you will plot this as a non-dimensional plot and you will get this interaction diagram for given section. So for those standard given section, they have given the chart in ready way. That also variables I have told. Using that, you can design it. Now we will take up a problem straight away. So I will take